Welcome to Mill History Talk, the podcast where we explore the past to better understand the profession of arms today. We dive into the campaigns, conflicts, issues, and commanders that have shaped military thinking across centuries, and why it all still matters. Whether you're an officer in training, a seasoned professional, a student of strategy, or simply curious about how history informs modern warfare, this space is for you. Our mission is simple: to foster insight, reflection, and critical thinking primarily through the lens of military history. Before we begin, a quick note. The views expressed in this podcast are of the podcast writers, hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any government agency or organization. So, whether you're listening in a barracks, a lecture hall, at the gym, or in your car on the way to work, welcome. We're glad you're here. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mill History Talk, episode 45. I'm Hope, and today we're talking about a man who looked at World War II and basically said, yeah, I can fix that. His name was Henry J. Kaiser, and somehow he didn't just fix it. He built ships so fast the Axis couldn't sink them fast enough.
Kaiser built the Richmond and Vancouver shipyards into the most productive maritime complex in history. He transformed U.S. industry into a wartime engine that overwhelmed enemy strategy.
And here's the plot twist. He had zero shipbuilding experience. None. Imagine applying for a job you're not qualified for and then becoming the best to ever do it. That's Kaiser. He came from massive dam projects like Hoover and Grand Coulee, which taught him to coordinate huge workforces and break projects into pieces built in parallel.
Traditional shipyards built ships slowly and sequentially. Kaiser used modular construction, big sections built indoors and welded together at the slipways. Welding replaced slow riveting and sped everything up dramatically.
So instead of one long, handcrafted ship, you get a shipyard that looks like the world's most intense Lego factory. And that brings us to the Liberty ships, the loaf-of-bread-shaped heroes of the war.
Liberty ships replaced catastrophic merchant losses from German U-boats. Early builds took over 200 days. Kaiser cut that to 60, then to under 40, then an average under 30. His famous 4-day build of the SS Robert E. Peary wasn't typical, but proved the system's potential.
4 days! I've had avocados go bad faster than that. But the real genius wasn't just the welding, it was the workforce.
Kaiser created training programs that turned novices into welders in weeks. Women, African Americans, Mexican Americans, and migrants all joined the skilled workforce. He also built housing, clinics, schools, and the Permanente health plan, later Kaiser Permanente, to keep workers healthy and productive.
Healthy workers plus childcare plus housing equals more ships. Richmond eventually launched a Liberty ship every 42 hours. Kaiser showed that industrial speed can be a strategic weapon. And that was only the warm-up. Let's talk about the next surprise in Kaiser's bag of tricks: escort carriers, the famous Jeep carriers. These were the minivans of naval aviation. Not glamorous, but absolutely essential.
The Navy needed carriers built fast for convoy escort and amphibious support. The result was the Casablanca-class, around 10,000 tons, about 28 aircraft, and designed from the start for rapid production.
So the Navy basically hands Kaiser a blueprint that says, "Please build a ton of these," and he replies, "Sure, I'll make them modular too." And suddenly, carriers are being built like giant snap-together kits.
Exactly. Giant hull blocks were prefabricated indoors. Flight deck sections arrived as huge modules and were craned onto the hull. Propulsion and internal systems came in pre-assembled units. Slipway time, always the bottleneck, was kept short.
And then we get the jaw-dropping part. By early 1944, Kaiser's Vancouver yard was launching one escort carrier every 2 weeks. 2 weeks! That's faster than my online orders show up.
Once deployed, these carriers changed the war. In the Atlantic, they closed the air gap, where U-boats once operated freely. Convoys suddenly had air cover across the entire ocean.
And in the Pacific, they were everywhere. Tarawa, the Marshalls, the Marianas, Leyte, jeep carriers providing close air support, anti-submarine patrols, and combat air patrol.
Their most famous moment came at the Battle of Samar in the Philippine Sea, October 25, 1944. Taffy 3, 6 escort carriers, and a small group of destroyers supporting an amphibious landing were surprised and faced the main Japanese center force fleet. They were completely outmatched.
It was like showing up to a tank fight with a lawnmower. But those pilots launched everything they had: bombs, torpedoes, machine gun runs, even improvised attacks. And somehow, it worked.
The Japanese withdrew. The St. Lo was sunk by a kamikaze, but the mission succeeded. And that battle was only possible because the ships existed in large numbers Kaiser's system produced.
Cargo ships that fed the war, escort carriers that shielded the fleets. And now we get to ask the big question. Could we ever pull this off again? All right, time for the uncomfortable part. Kaiser built ships at unbelievable speed because he had the system, the workforce, the housing, the healthcare, the modular design, and national backing. So, could we do that today?
Unfortunately, not with the current defense industrial base. Modern systems are highly advanced but slow to produce. Supply chains are specialized and vulnerable. Surge capacity is limited.
Translation: in a long war, we might run out of equipment before we run out of determination. Not ideal.
Kaiser teaches 4 major lessons. First, design for manufacturability. His ships were simple and fast to build. Second, modular and distributed production. Multiple yards building interchangeable blocks. Third, rapid workforce training. He created welders in weeks. Fourth, social infrastructure. Homes, childcare, healthcare kept workers productive.
And the big one, production tempo is a weapon. You can have amazing tech, but if you can't build enough of it, you're in trouble.
In any future conflict with a peer adversary, the ability to repair and replace losses, ships, drones, and munitions, will shape strategy as much as battlefield tactics.
Kaiser left us a playbook. Simplify where possible, design modularly, train fast, and support the workforce like national survival depends on it.
Exactly. Industrial power decides long wars. Kaiser's achievement wasn't just historic, it's a warning and a roadmap.
And that wraps today's episode of Mill History Talk. If you enjoyed our dive into Kaiser, Liberty ships, and escort carriers, make sure you hit follow, subscribe, and share the show. Tell your friends. History isn't dusty. It's drama, strategy, and sometimes a guy building ships at ludicrous speed.
Leave us a review, spread the word, and check the show notes for more content. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time on Mill History Talk.